everyone. This is Rhiannon Payne, Marketing Director at Ruby Central, and I'm here today with Adrian Marin. Adrian is the author of Avo HQ, which is a suite of backend tooling for building admin interfaces for your Rails apps. Adrian is also going to be joining us at the final RailsConf this summer in Philadelphia, where he's going to be giving a talk as well as participating in hack spaces on day 2. We're so excited to learn more about Avo HQ and all the great open source work that Adrian's doing, and for folks on the ground at RailsConf to actually dive into the code with him and participate. Thank you, Adrian. It's so great to chat with you today.
Thanks, Rhiannon, for having me. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be my first RailsConf as well as my last RailsConf. So it's going to be like a happy and a sad day for me, but I'm really excited. Philadelphia is one of my favorite US cities. So it's that's another plus. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah, Philly's great, and I'm so excited. We're filming this on June 18th, which is maybe 3 weeks away
3 weeks.
from
Yep.
RailsConf, which
Yeah.
honestly feels insane. It's a good time.
I need to finish my talks. It is insane.
I feel like you still have plenty of time.
I am notoriously known for finishing my talk on the airplane there. But I'll try to be a little bit more diligently. I have it all here. I just need to put it out on paper. So it's going to be good.
I'm excited. I actually did get the chance to see you talk at SF Ruby a few months ago, which is hosted by Irina Nazarova in San Francisco. Is that going to be connected to what you're discussing this year at RailsConf?
A little bit tangentially. At SF Ruby, I spoke about Avo and what it is, because it's a rather not well-known concept in the community. So I'm trying to break some walls there about what admin panels are, internal tools and everything. So that was my talk at SF Ruby and my demo and everything. But now at RailsConf, I'm going to talk about the asset pipeline a lot. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So when I started doing development in 2006, 8, 10, something like that, we used to do things with assets totally different. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, about why we used to do it like that and why did it change. And at some point, how I got into Rails and I got acquainted with the asset pipeline, and it was sprockets back then. And I had all of these questions like, why is it there? Why should we use it? Can I not use it? And talk a little bit about how we went to that and what we have now, like with prop shaft and import maps. And that's going to be like the first half of my talk. And then the other half of my talk, I want to discuss a little bit about some of the experiments that I did through the open source projects, through Avo, through Mark Smith, which is a markdown editor for Rails, and how others can use air quotes here, like master the asset pipeline, and how they can work with mostly like JavaScript, because there are a lot of problems there. I'm going to talk about CSS as well, but mostly about JavaScript. If you want to build plugins for Rails and have your own JavaScript in there, you'll find some nice patterns to use from my past work. So that's mainly my RailsConf talk.
I love that you're really going to be connecting the dots between all of these experiences you've had working in Rails over the years. I think that's going to be super interesting for the community. And I'd love to even take a few steps back and talk a little bit about what Avo HQ is, what inspired you to start this open source project, and what was the problem you were trying to solve when this all started?
Yeah, so it's not a novel problem or a novel solution. Admin panel frameworks or internal tool builder, they were there before Avo. And one thing that I learned while watching them was, because they will build some other solutions like ActiveAdmin and Rails admin, they were built a while back, and I don't mean to bash any of them, but they had probably different contexts in mind, different use cases, and technology was different. And when I started to build Avo, like before, I built probably 100 admin panels in the past, and I had all that knowledge of, okay, what do you need in an admin panel / content management system / internal tool? What do you need in your digital brain? Because this is what Avo is. It's not this closeted admin panel where only 5 people go in, because if you touch the data wrong, like you'll crash the app or whatever. It's this place where you can invite your whole team to run your operation. So wherever you manage your plans, your subscriptions, your users, everything like that, you could do that inside Avo. And the problem that we're solving is not building the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing with Rails. That's why we're not building our own view layer, our own modeling, database talking layer, and so on. And the request lifecycle, we use something like Rails because Rails is there. Hundreds and thousands, like not thousands, right? Maybe hundreds of thousands of apps already use it. So you get all of that knowledge and all of those corner cases fixed because you're using an existing solution. So same with Avo, we have hundreds of customers of apps that are running these in production. So they've been around and they've been kicking the tires and having a lot of edge cases and corner cases, which we fixed. And now whenever you need to build an operations center, like operational software, internal tools, admin panels, content management systems, you can do that with Avo, and you'll probably have most of the features that you need before you actually need them.
I'd love to hear too, how long have you been working on this project?
I started in 2020. Some might remember the pandemic when we were stuck in our homes and we couldn't go out and do all kinds of activities. So I basically built it to see if I could do it. Like, it was a nice challenge and I did it. It was initially a Vue.js app with a Rails backend, a Rails API. And in December of 2020, DHH released Hotwire, and some stranger on Twitter told me that because Avo is using Vue.js, he'll never use Avo because it's the worst thing ever. And the only thing he will use is Hotwire, and that's a whole new thing. And guess what I did? I just took a few months off of work to actually go out and rebuild my side project just to show them that I can do it. So I was probably one of the first medium-sized projects which used Hotwire since the beginning. And so let's say version 1 is February or March 2021. So it's about 4 years and change since then.
First of all, I love that this was your pandemic project, which turned into something so impactful and a business now that you're running full time. And I also love when you get your first hater on Twitter, I feel like that's when you really know you've made it.
Yep.
So that was a very validating moment for you that someone cared enough to.
I agree. You're getting acknowledged. So yeah, I was very mad back then, but now I'm like, dude, that was amazing. You made somebody mad because with your tool. So they used it. And yeah, that's a good validation point.
Absolutely. I feel like all of the folks who are using and loving Avo today should go back and thank this guy. Hopefully you tell him after this and you guys can laugh about it at RailsConf.
We probably will. We probably will.
And that's what I love about the Ruby on Rails community. Folks at the end of the day are just really good people who genuinely care about this community, about this ecosystem, about working with Ruby and Rails. And even if someone comes off the wrong way in a tweet, even if there's some community drama once in a while, everyone is still willing to acknowledge work well done, give, especially folks in the open source community, give props to those who deserve it, who are doing the work like you are. That's benefiting so many.
Absolutely. So as a side note, I run a boutique conference in Bucharest in September. It's called Friendly.rb. It's about 140 people-ish. And in the conference it's a bunch of friends. It's not just me, but one of them, he comes from JavaScript. He's doing JavaScript all day. That's his technical stack. And after we did 2 sessions to get 2 of these conferences, 2 editions together, he was like, oh my God, you Ruby people are really freaking different. Like the way that you come together, the camaraderie and everything, the smiles and everything, it's really a special community.
Yeah, Rubyists are truly built different, and that's why we're all here, and that's why we love it. Yeah, do you want to chat actually a little bit more about your conference in Bucharest? Because this is a conference that I have personally wanted to go to for years now. I haven't been able to make it out yet, hopefully next year. But it's one of those smaller niche conferences that gets spoken about a lot because it's such a wonderful experience. What was that like for you starting that, and how has that been?
So the conference landscape definitely changed since 23 when I announced it. There weren't as many, definitely not as many in Europe. I remember I was looking at at RailsConf and RubyConf and what was happening overseas, and I was like, dude, we should do something because we have very talented Ruby people in Europe as well. So I announced it through a tweet. People started asking about it. I actually asked, hey, if I were to run a Ruby conference in September, would anybody come? And then I had quite a few people respond. And then I had a few conversations with other conference organizers, Andy Kroll and some others. And I just took a leap and said, okay, I'm going to put on this conference. And I don't know what it was, maybe the name, maybe something else, but like all the cool folks from like social media, all the cool folks from Europe, they just started flocking in. It became I don't call it a local conference, I call it a boutique conference because it's not as big. But for example, in the first edition, we only sold maybe 20 tickets for Romanian people. The rest 100 people, like they came from all over, and it's similar with the last edition as well. So it's a very international conference with a lot of cool folks. And what we're trying to do is have a different type of lineup. So first of all, we bring like some very well-known folks from the community, but also we want to bring new talent to the stage. I remember when I got accepted to speak at my first conference at Wrocław in Poland, I was very, very happy and very enthusiastic about it. And I want to give that feeling to other people as well, because I know how difficult it is to actually get a mic and to get your place on the stage. And that's one thing. The second thing, we do want to do all kinds of activities. We do have activities between the days. And the last day, we definitely emphasize community and talking, and we have a swanky location. Like I could talk about this all freaking day. Yeah, it's a very nice conference. And if you're around in September, we would love to host you. We're very friendly and we're really happy to show people around.
Yes, I can at least attest to you are very friendly. And what are the dates in September exactly so folks can see if they can make it out?
It's 10, 11 plus 12. The last day, the 12, that's a Friday where we get on a train together, about 30, 40 people. We already sold like 25 tickets for the last day, the trip. And we're going to get on a train. We're going to go to the mountains. It's about a 2-hour train ride. We're going to go see a castle, go up on the mountains. We'll eat some local food. And then in the evening, get back on a train, get back to Bucharest. So it's a full day of actually making those connections even stronger. We've had a lot of people telling us like that trip was everything to them. Like the conference was nice and everything, but having the trip and the camaraderie, that was amazing.
Wow. Definitely going to try to make it 2026. But I think for anyone attending Rails World in Amsterdam, which is in early September, it's a relatively easy jump to then head over to Bucharest. And then there's another conference in Portugal right after yours.
Portugal. Yep. So we call it the triathlon, the Ruby triathlon. This happened the past 2 years as well. This is the third year. This year is going to be Rails World, Friendly.rb, and Yuruko week after week. And then people travel together, they work together. It's a really nice experience.
That's great. And yeah, at Ruby Central, we're really invested in helping this ecosystem of local global events grow. I don't know if you saw at the beginning of this year, but we started to do small grants for local events around the world. I think we were able to help sponsor upwards of 20 events across 15 countries, something like that. With our partnership with Fastly. It's really amazing seeing these new events crop up in some places you may not even expect. And I love these boutique conferences. I'm pretty sure I met you at a Sin City. Movie. I think that was the first time we met, right? And the first time we spent time together.
Amazing conference, amazing event. Yeah, really.
That was great.
Really miss it.
Yeah, me too. Jason Sweat did an amazing job organizing those. I think that one's definitely one of the legends now moving forward that people are going to still talk about for years to come.
I think small conferences have their own place. Like large conferences definitely brings everybody together, brings the spotlight on the community, on Rails or on Ruby as a whole. And we need those. But those are different beasts. Those are like festivals, right? But the small ones, this is where personally I feel that I can put my own touch on things, and I can run an event like how I wish to go to a different events, right? So I can run it the way I want it to do it. And that's why you can see each of these small individual conferences have their own flavor and nuance to them.
Absolutely. And along those lines, what impact do you think the growth of these global events is having on the ecosystem more broadly? Marco Roth has been working on an open source project called Ruby Events, where he's cataloging all Ruby events and video recordings of all the talks, which is incredible work. And Arena mentioned to me that Marco mentioned to her that there's been something like 900 Ruby events he's cataloged
Wow.
last year. So, as an event host yourself, how's this growth, this grassroots groundswell of events impacting the ecosystem, the language, the framework?
Yeah. I've been saying this for a while. It's so what's happening now, actually, what's been happening for about 10 years now, like there's been a huge amount of investment into dev tooling, into all kinds of these companies who are meant for developers. And of course, they take some of that money and deploy it to marketing. And what happens is most of those companies, they work in different stacks, maybe Python, maybe JavaScript and TypeScript. That's probably the biggest one. And even though we like it or not, marketing does have a large impact on what choices people do, what paper choices they make in choosing a technology, choosing a stack, choosing which app or framework or language they use in their day-to-day or on their companies and so on. So us doing these events is our part in moving the needle in the marketing department. People have to see, okay, Ruby is alive, Rails is alive, things are happening, new things are being released, people get together, companies get into it, because that's another big thing. I love the one person framework, but I would love to be called the thousand employee framework or something like. Because we do need the large companies or medium-sized companies to actually push things forward, like Shopify is doing. Us doing our part with these events, from large conferences, smaller conferences, and meetups. This is our, let's say, marketing push and showing the world that the ecosystem is alive and is still breathing, and we're growing ourselves.
That is great perspective. I'm probably biased because I'm a marketer myself, but I do think that marketing is increasingly important in programming ecosystems and in open source to promote these languages and tools and push the technology, push the community forward. And I think it's essential that when it comes to marketing within developer ecosystems, we really need people like you who are from the community, who understand and truly care about it, pushing these messages and events forward, because a lot of times marketing without that context or heart behind it can feel a little bit tone deaf or just miss the mark and not resonate. So I really appreciate what you're doing and all these other incredible Rubyists who are now starting and continuing to run these events. It's so important.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. Yeah, we need the regular marketing, but we also need the heart in it all.
I did want to talk a little bit about hack spaces because this is something we are super excited about for RailsConf this year. We have done Hack Day in the past at Ruby Central events like RubyConf as well. But I think that this time we learned from previous events and now we're solidifying our processes around this. We're rebranding it as Hack Spaces, which is part of a larger thing, which is Community Day on day 2 of RailsConf. I believe that's July 9th. So community is all about folks actually getting hands-on, getting in the weeds, participating, going to panels where they can actually ask questions and contribute, attending workshops, learning, working directly with the developers and maintainers behind the open source tools that they love and use or are curious about. And Avo, of course, is one of the most beloved open source tools within our community. So I know you mentioned earlier that this is the first Hack Day or Hack Spaces that you've participated in. What do you hope for going into this? How do you plan to represent Avo and work with attendees at the conference?
So before answering that, I just want to set the stage that I have the biggest imposter syndrome. I'm looking at this page right now and I see Marco Roth. I see Rosa with Solid Q, Steven. I'm looking forward to seeing Jose Varias with the Hotwire Combo Box, Active Agent, Chris Oliver. Like, these are the stars. I feel a little bit of an imposter to be there. I cannot wait. Like when people get me started with kind of the like code and community and like a little bit of SaaS, and I could talk for hours. I don't want to do that. I want to get more people to talk to me about some other things. But yeah, otherwise, like it's going to be my first time there. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but I'm definitely going to prepare some things, maybe workshop a little bit through like what Avo is. It's an engine and how it ties into the whole Rails app and what are the caveats that we've seen over the years and how do we do like our JavaScript and the CSS and like bundling and whatever. And when somebody wants to jump in and wants to do some actual code, I definitely want to do that. I want to see them, how they work, some other people, and help them guide them through that. So we're going to be there with Avo. We have some other projects like Mark Smith, the Markdown editor. We have other fun ones like Stimulus Confetti, where you can add confetti to a web page using Stimulus.js and some other things. I'm very excited. I don't have a big answer for this is the big thing that we're going to do, but we are going to have fun and talk about Ruby and Rails and look at some code.
Yes, we are going to have fun for sure. I think you're in the afternoon slot for Hackspaces, correct?
Yeah, I think I chose that one because I wanted to go in the morning to actually see what everybody else is doing so I can get some inspiration.
I love how strategic that is. I think we're actually going to be overlapping in the afternoon, so I'll definitely see you there on the ground. I'm going to be working with my partner, Justin, who's the creator of Active Agents. So we're going to be talking about AI stuff over in our corner. You're going to be talking about Avo. I think Marco Roth is also going to be there at the same time, and so many cool people. It's going to be hard for folks to choose where to go first or how to spend their time that day.
Yep. It's good to know that if nobody wants to come to our booth, I can go around to a lot of amazing other booths.
Exactly. So are you looking for new contributors to Avo? Is that something that you're interested in?
Definitely, that's something helpful anytime. We do have some, so we did participate in GitHub's Hacktoberfest, and we do have a lot of issues which are marked like good first issue. This is a JavaScript thing, this is a Ruby thing, this is a Rails thing. If you want to pick this up, we have approaches to how we do it. So if anybody wants to come in and join, they will have a few things from which they can pick up and say, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Let me see how we can set it up and help out.
That's cool. I think you're probably more prepared and ready for this than you realize.
Hopefully, this is something that the imposter syndrome helps you with. You're going to get over prepare a little bit.
Exactly. Also, I don't know if you have ADHD, but same. It's over preparing constantly, but that's honestly a superpower. So
Yep.
it's gonna be a great time.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, really looking forward to the Hackspaces day.
Yeah, me too. So Adrian, I know this is your first and last sad RailsConf, but have you been to RubyConf in the past?
No. So again, I haven't done a lot of conferences in North America, which I hope that will change. But no, this is going to be my first Ruby Central event ever, I think.
Well, we hope we'll also see you or have you speak or participate in Hackspaces at RubyConf next year. It's going to be in the spring now, in May moving forward. We're just solidifying details around location and timing and all kinds of new ideas that I'm incredibly excited for. So
I'm excited as well. And yeah, let's hear the release and definitely we'll look into it.
yeah, 100%. So Adrian, thank you so much for joining us here today and chatting a little bit about Avo and what you're looking forward to at RailsConf. And we're just so excited to have you join us all the way from Bucharest, especially having a new baby too. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Rhiannon. I really enjoyed talking this afternoon and you really piqued my interest again. I cannot wait. In 3 weeks, it's too long. I can't wait to be there at RailsConf.
Exactly. I'm ready. Awesome, Adrian. Thank you. And we will see you there in just a few weeks.
See you soon, Rhiannon.